kind of tried to get her, like, off of me, away from me, and then that's when she sunk down onto my leg.
Happening right now at 5, a Hawaii News Now exclusive. A Big Island man speaks out about his life-threatening encounter with a tiger shark.
A soccer mom robbed at gunpoint in broad daylight at a popular city park. Now the search is on for this brazen suspect.
Plus, staph-like infections for 2 high school football players. What the school is doing to prevent an outbreak.
A potential cyclone is still looming in our neighborhood. I'll have the latest forecast.
In high definition, from KGMB and KHNL, this is your source for breaking news. Hawaii News Now at 5.
Like when you see like on National Geographic, like when shark going after one seal, like that's how she's coming for me. Like just full speed.
A Hawaii News Now exclusive, an incredible story of survival as a Big Island man attacked by a shark speaks out for the first time since his terrifying ordeal.
The 27-year-old man posted a short video on Instagram of his mangled leg as he was being loaded into an ambulance.
Our Mileka Lincoln spoke to him exclusively in his hospital room and joins us live with the story and, Mileka, why he made that video in the first place.
Aloha, Chris, Steph. Yes, you've seen the viral video, and there's no doubt Braxton Rocha is a fighter. After meeting him today, I can tell you he's quite the character as well, just so full of life. He has such a positive outlook. Describing his attack, he really only got emotional twice when he explained why he picked up his cell phone and started recording.
I don't know, I just thought like that was like literally like my final moments. I just need to let my best friend know that I love him, and he had my back, saved my life.
Braxton Rocha and his high school classmate Shannon Posco were spearfishing together on Sunday when he was attacked by a 13-foot tiger shark.
You went to the hospital? Her head was probably like this big, like it was massive. And she was just like right in front of me. I just put my hands on top of her nose to kind of like get her, get her away from me. But like she was pushing me back just because her brute force, she was so big. And she was pushing me back, and I kind of tried to get her, like, off of me, away from me, and then that's when she sunk down onto my leg.
Fueled by adrenaline, Braxton managed to swim 60 yards to shore, where he dragged himself out of the water and was able to warn Shannon.
She just didn't look like a brute. It looked like she was pregnant, like she was hungry and cruising. And
huge.
Big. The biggest shark I ever seen. Went from calm to panic real fast after I seen what kind of shark. I was expecting a cute white tip. When I seen this submarine, I was like, oh crap.
The friends were diving in an isolated area with no cell service. It had started pouring and their truck was a quarter of a mile away.
I'm like, God, please help me. Yeah, please, my friend is, don't let this happen, please. Like, I was seriously, like, I thought that was, I thought that my brother was going to, lose his leg or lose his life, and I never let him lose neither of it.
100 staples later, Braxton's already walking on the leg that was mauled by a tiger shark, and he's anxious to get back into the ocean.
The way I look at it is like I was in the wrong place, That was my bad. It was murky, there's no sun, it's dark, it's mistaken identity. But it doesn't change the way I look at sharks or the ocean. Like I said, I can't wait to get back in the water and go swim with them again.
Now, I asked both Braxton and Shannon what lessons were learned from this experience. They say the same thing, which is whether you're diving or spearfishing, always go with a buddy, make a plan and stick to it, and be sure to follow your instincts, your na'au. They said they both had a feeling that something wasn't quite right, but they second-guessed that and went in anyway. Now, Braxton is still recovering here at North Hawaii Community Hospital, but he is expected to be released this Friday. Reporting live from Waimea, Mileka Lincoln, Hawaii News Now.
We're glad to see him recovering. Thank you very much, Mileka. New developments tonight. We're getting our first look at the man police say abducted a soccer mom at Kapiolani Park in broad daylight. Investigators say the woman was waiting to pick up her daughter from practice when the man got into her car, pointed a gun at her, and forced her to drive around the park.
Our Allison Blair is live near the scene with more. Allison, what's the latest?
Chris, this woman was parked in the parking lot near the tennis courts across the street from Waikiki Aquarium. Now you can see that this is an extremely busy area, especially this time of day. I can tell you word of this brazen crime has a lot of folks here taking extra precaution. Now we're told the victim was sitting in her car with her window down when the suspect got in the passenger side and told her he needed drug money. He pulled out a gun and forced her to drive around the park. That's when he made her take off her jewelry and put it in her purse. He grabbed her bag and took off. The victim, she wasn't hurt. She ended up alerting her daughter's coaches for help.
She was obviously distraught about the situation and very upset and second guessing what she could have done after the fact. And so people are just shocked that it happened. You know, we were at Kapiolani Park in daylight, just coaching and playing soccer, and you know, you kind of think you're in a safe area, and apparently not.
Now here's another look at the suspect. Investigators say he was captured on surveillance video at a store in Haleiwa using the victim's credit card. Detectives say they also have a shot of the car he was in. Police describe him as a local man in his mid-30s with a tattoo on his neck and very crooked bottom teeth. Now, coming up all new tonight on KGMB at 6 o'clock, we talked to some concerned residents, hear what they're doing to stay safe. We're live at Kapiolani Park tonight. Allison Blair, Hawaii News Now.
Allison, thanks for that. This just into our newsroom. A man in his 60s is dead tonight after the truck he was driving hit a tree in Kapolei. This happened on Kinoiki Street near the Kapolei fire station just after 2 this afternoon. We're told the man was trapped in his truck at one point. Eastbound lanes are now open on Kapolei Parkway. For more on the traffic, here's Danielle Tucker.
Thanks so much, Chris. We've got one accident if you're coming off the H1 freeway going into Eva. This is the exit itself, and here's the accident just around the bend. You come upon it. That's why everybody's slowing down. Out to the west side, we're just backed up from Pu'uloa on the Kamehameha Highway overpasses, and Honolulu bound slows approaching Vineyard. From the City and County of Honolulu's Traffic Management Center, I'm Danielle Tucker with Crater 96.3. For Hawaii News Now, back to Chris and Steph.
Danielle, thanks. Here now a look at some of the road work tomorrow on the H1. 2 right lanes closed after the Waimalu on-ramp to Farrington Highway. That starts at 9:30 in the morning.
Kaiser Permanente will take over operations at several financially troubled Maui hospitals. The Hawaii Health System's Maui board selected Kaiser Permanente to run Maui Memorial, Kula Hospital, and the Lanai Community Hospital. It's a surprise move since many considered Hawaii Pacific Health as a leading candidate. Under legislation enacted this year, the hospital will operate as a private and public sector partnership.
At expanding services and making the hospital a world-class institution.
The alternative was to potentially be shrinking services or, downsizing, et cetera. And, we were looking for an opportunity to grow services.
That legislation guarantees jobs for all 1,500 workers for the first 6 months. The state and Kaiser say they hope to have a definitive agreement worked out by the end of the year. Regulatory approval is also required.
From youth leagues to the pros, it's something all too familiar for sports teams. An athlete contracting a bacterial skin infection like staph. Such is the case at Roosevelt High School. Fortunately enough, the school's reaction with multiple layers of treatment and precaution has not only knocked it down, but is serving as a model on how to deal with a situation like it.
And anytime you do something like this, we didn't want to cause a panic.
That something was an immediate response to 2 football players coming to school Monday with staph-like symptoms. Roosevelt's athletic trainers physically examined every varsity and JV player afterwards.
Anybody that had any type of cut or anything that looked as a possibility of some kind of skin lesion, they asked them to go to one side.
The trainers further inspected anyone with wounds and instructed some to see a doctor as a precautionary measure. Tuesday, the school began a massive disinfecting process, starting with the helmets, pads, and other equipment.
We laid it out on the track and we disinfected all the pads. We went to the locker room, we shot the whole locker room down with disinfectant. And we also shut the field down as a precaution.
Lastly, the school sent a letter home to all the football players' parents
to let them know what we're doing and also, what our kids could do to kind of help out to make sure that, we don't have an outbreak later on.
So far, so good. No other players have shown signs of infection. Chung credits good communication for the school's response and says it's also imperative for student athletes to speak up.
If you just have a small cut or anything, I don't know, red bump or whatnot, go see the trainer.
And some good fortune. Roosevelt's game this week was forfeited by Anuenue, so they won't play again until October 9th, that game against Kaimuki.
A runoff from all the recent heavy rains have prompted a brown water advisory for Waimanalo Beach Park. Swimmers and beachgoers are being warned if the water is brown, stay out.
Of course, the major weather feature is that disturbance we've been talking about off to the east.
Yeah, it still hasn't fully materialized, but that in itself is reason for caution. Guy has the latest. Guy.
That's right. We continue to track the disturbance. It's to our southeast, and it's slowly moving this way. Now, at last check, it was about 800 miles southeast of Hilo. Wind's not all that strong, about 30 miles an hour. So it's not up to cyclone strength yet, but the Central Pacific Hurricane Center says there is a 70% chance it becomes a cyclone in the next 48 hours. But they've been saying that for the last 3 days. Now, computer models agree on a northwesterly path at least for the next 3 days. But after that, there is a lot of divergence, and you can see. And remember, all of these models have been very inaccurate in the long-range forecast predictions. So take these paths with a grain of salt for now. They are sure to shift sometime in the future. But because of the proximity of the storm to the state, it's a good reason to get prepared. I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Guy. There will be fewer pumpkins to pick from at the annual Aloon Farms Pumpkin Festival next month. The farm in Kapolei is reporting a pumpkin shortage due to the recent storms and heavy rains. Production has dropped nearly 50%.
Hey, coming up, 2 more major retailers have signed on as tenants in the new shopping center slated for Kapolei. We'll tell you who they are.
Plus, Pope Francis delivers his first ever Mass in the U.S. A wrap-up of the Pontiff's busy day is next in a live report.
Now look at what's coming up at 5:30 on KHNL. Canonization was on the Pope's U.S. itinerary, but did Francis himself perform a miracle? One mother thinks so. Another major international visitor to the country as China's president is in Washington State. What he had to say to people there. And in the face of withering criticism for price gouging, a big pharma exec lowers prices. But by how much?
Have a story idea, news tip, or great photo you want to share with Hawaii News Now? Post it to our Facebook page or email news@hawaiinewsnow.com.
This week's Wanted Wednesday suspect has 10 prior convictions. Sky Talamoa is now wanted on a $20,000 warrant. Police arrested the 24-year-old 2 years ago for promoting a dangerous drug and unlawful use of drug paraphernalia. Any tips? Call Crime Stoppers.
Well, we now know of 2 more retailers planning to open at a new shopping center in Kapolei. Shoppers will get to enjoy Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works at Kamakana Ali'i. So far, nearly a dozen stores have been confirmed for the new shopping center, including Macy's, H&M, and Forever 21. The first phase is slated to open in late 2016. Also in Kapolei, the search is on for a developer for this piece of property the University of Hawaii plans to build on. It is 168 acres adjacent to the UH West Oahu campus and borders Kualakai Parkway. UH plans on it being a mixed-use community that will include housing, retail, and recreational space for students.
The salvage of the fishing boat Judy K, which was partially submerged in Honolulu Harbor since January, is now complete. Army divers finished the work today, which had been delayed due to recent stormy weather. The 77-foot vessel, which was abandoned at the harbor, released about 50 gallons of fuel when it sank. The dive team worked with the Department of Transportation on the operation. The state will now move to a ship salvage at Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam. Well, Pope Francis had a jam-packed itinerary on his first full day in the United States.
And he has another busy schedule tomorrow. Marley Hall joins us live in Washington, D.C. with the very latest for us. Marley?
Chris and Stephanie, what a day Pope Francis had here in Washington, D.C. From kissing babies outside the White House to canonizing a saint, the Holy Father had a day filled with firsts.
Espíritu Santo.
Pope Francis made history when he elevated an 18th century Spanish missionary to sainthood during an afternoon mass at Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception.
This is what dreams are made of.
It's the first time a canonization has taken place on American soil. Just before the late afternoon mass, 2,000 young men and women studying to become nuns and priests greeted Francis like a rock star inside the basilica. The Pope started his long day at the White House, where he met privately with President Obama and urged immediate U.S. action on climate change during an address on the South Lawn.
Climate change is a problem.
Francis also paused to pray with bishops, met with the Little Sisters of the Poor, and stopped by the seminary named for Pope John Paul II. The popular People's Pope found cheering crowds everywhere he went. A 5-year-old girl evaded security barricades to approach him.
I ran to the Pope.
And what did you give him?
The letter and a shirt like this.
In her letter, the daughter of undocumented immigrants pleaded with the Pope to talk to lawmakers about immigration reform. And that's sure to be one of the topics Pope Francis will address tomorrow in his highly anticipated speech to Congress.
Marley, besides members of Congress, who else will be in attendance for the Pope's address tomorrow?
Well, the Pope's address tomorrow to Congress is being called the hottest ticket in town. Virtually every dignitary and lawmaker will be there. In addition, thousands more will be outside the White House watching and listening to the address on Jumbotrons. Chris, Steph?
Amazing. And one more question, of course, he's only in D.C. for half the day tomorrow, so by tomorrow afternoon, he's back on the road again. Where's the next stop?
That's right. His speech to Congress is one of the last things he'll do here in Washington, D.C. Then he's off to New York City, and then finally Philadelphia.
Busy indeed. And Marley Hall reporting live for us in Washington, D.C. Thanks, Marley.
Late on the East Coast, but you can see still plenty of sunlight left on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Some rain in the distance. Guys, got your full forecast next.
From Hawaii News Now and your team for severe weather, this is your forecast with Guy Hagi.
The breezy trade winds continue to rule the roost, and they're likely going to hold court all the way into next week. And that's a good thing because that means better humidity levels and comfortable air quality as well. There will be some showers moving in, mostly to those Windward and Mauka areas. But so far today, rainfall totals have been pretty light and pretty skimpy. Let's take a look at the radar, and you can see those light scattered showers mainly favoring windward sides. But notice to the south and west, look at that. Some thunderstorms to the west of the Big Island. But the Big Island's dried up, and they're not having that heavy afternoon downpours over there, although there's a chance of that over the next several days for them. For Maui, just a few minor splashes. Fairly dry for Maui County. The West Maui Mountains picking up a little bit. We had some showers earlier. You can see them moving through central Oahu. And right now, there's one little blob of moisture just north of Wahiawa. But all in all, things are looking pretty nice. In Kauai, had some rain up and down the south and west sides out towards Keikaha back into the Poipu area. So a little damp over there. But over the last 12 hours, the rainfall totals haven't been overwhelming. Most of the rain came down up in Kauai as well as up in Manoa. Manoa got about an inch. You can see the Big Island fairly dry. And according to our rain trend forecast, these semi-damp conditions, semi-dry conditions will continue through Thursday. Then on Friday, look for a slight increase in those Windward and Mauka showers, and that's what we're expecting all the way through the weekend. So keep that umbrella handy if you're going to spend some time on the windward sides. Leeward side should be fairly dry. So tonight, we're going to have that typical trade wind weather, 72 to 77. The temperature range should be pretty comfortable tomorrow as well. We're going to see some passing showers from time to time, mainly in the morning. Not a whole lot of showers in the midday and the afternoon for the leeward sides. And those trade winds running at kite-flying speeds. So the surf's going to be a little choppy because of that. The biggest waves are on the windward side. That's where it's going to be choppiest as well. Now, over the next few days, the weather's really not going to change in any significant way. So keep those umbrellas handy. Again, more rain expected on Monday.
All right, guys, thanks. Coming up, the killer whales may be false, but the video definitely is not. The gorgeous up-close encounter that was close to home.
Also, all week long, we're celebrating reaching 500,000 likes on Facebook with a giveaway to say mahalo to you for making us Hawaii's most liked news source. We're selecting 3 winners for today's giveaway. The prizes, 2 will win a gift certificate to Painting with a Twist. The other lucky winner, a $100 gift card to High's Steakhouse. Sounds like a good time. And it's simple. You can enter to win on our Hawaii News Now Facebook page.
Hey, finally tonight, some stunning close-up video of false killer whales.
Yeah, a tour group spotted them off the coast of Yokohama Bay on Oahu. It appears the two are just giving us a big toothy grin. They look happy. Yeah, Elizabeth Hartford shot the amazing video, and she says the mother and calf approached the boat and they just kept riding along the side, keeping those watchers company there.
It's amazing how they're just cruising alongside, and the ocean itself stars in this video because look at those rays of light just cascading downward. Absolutely gorgeous.
You ever had an encounter like this before, Chris?
I never have, to tell you the truth. I haven't been that fortunate. Of course, I'm not out on boats that often.
I know.
So, this is the best thing I got, Steph.
Thank goodness for these videos, huh?
Yeah.